Hi there, Philomaths. Welcome back to my channel, or just welcome if you're new. My name is Daphne. In this video, as you may have known by the title, I will be going over how you can study on Notion using the most popular note-taking methods, as you can see listed on the side. And so basically, what are my qualifications? A good amount of personal experience since I am going to school. I'm basically a senior, and of course, innovation. So, without further ado, let's just jump in. Okay, so the first method is going to be the Cornell note-taking method. So this is what it's going to look like, and I'm going to recreate it with you. So what you do is just type that, or you can type whatever category or heading you want, and then go to the dots, turn into, and then heading 3. That's the one I use most often. And then you drag it to the side to create another column, and that way you have 2 columns, like so. And then you just have main idea, and then you can type in your points. And then you can, if you do a question on the side, you could do question and then answer 1, 2, and 3, or 4, however many you have. So the points, you can just highlight all of them at once. Over here to the side, create another column next to this, align it with main idea. And then for a question, just put that there. And then, like I did last time, highlight all of the answers. And that way you have your setup. And then for the bottom, what you can do is just hit the dash key on your keyboard, hit it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and it inserts the divider. The other way you could do it is do slash div, and then it automatically pops up and you can click that. So you can insert a divider and align it where you want, and then you can put your summary down here. Make sure it's aligned, and then that's how it looks. And that's the Cornell note-taking method. And you can kind of play around with it. You can add a color, you can color the words, or you could highlight it, whatever, however you want to do that. But this is the setup, how you could set up your notes. I recommend probably setting this up after class, like take your notes and then plug in everything. But if you are taking your notes on a computer, you can easily do this and just rearrange the points. So if you wrote something down and you think that it really needs to go under here, you can drag it to the below this point or to the bottom, and you can rearrange it as needed. So that's the Cornell note-taking method on Notion. And okay, so the next note-taking method is the outlining method, and this one's probably pretty popular, and it's also pretty simple to do on Notion. So as you can see, you can just start the outline however you want, normally Roman numerals, and then you just create your point. You can tab and then create your other point, your subpoint, and you can create as many subpoints as you need. And then you can do like a sub point underneath the sub point, and then the numbers will automatically pop up, and then you can do another point underneath the sub point. And then these are some options you can do. So you can bullet point, you can number, you can capital letter, you can lowercase letter, you could use numbers for the sub options. It really just depends on how you prefer, I guess, kind of aligning and setting up your outline. But yeah, it's pretty simple. So that's the outlining note-taking method. Okay, so the third note-taking method is the mapping method. And this one's kind of fun. So the way I set this up is I just typed in main point. The dots turn into heading, and then if you want to, you can color it. And what I did was I tabbed, and then you have to space all the way in the middle. You can align it with something in the title to make it look centered. And then you just put in all of your subpoints. And then you create those columns like we did in a previous deal. And then, it's not doing for some reason. Maybe it's okay. There we go. And then you can start with this. You can tab the dots, turn into, and then bulleted list. And then you can create your sub points for each main point. And then you can keep going, but yeah, you get the idea. And then underneath you can tab and then create another point. And then I'm just gonna make this even so it looks like it does on the top. Okay, and then what you can do is slash and then type an image, click image, and it depends on what you're studying, but if you're studying, let's just say anatomy, you can click on an image to kind of help you remember if you're a visual type person. And then keep doing it. You can do it for all points if you want. Just move that up there. It'll come up in a second, I guess. And then, yeah. And then you can just do that. And then that way you have your images. So if you're trying to remember the bones, for example, or muscles, you can have your bones listed out, for example, and then you've got the image. So that way it'll hopefully help you remember. The images, they're optional. You don't have to do that. You can just do that. And then if you need to add another sub point or sub point, you just create it, drag it over, and there you go. And then you can add more info as needed, and so on. So that's how you can do this. And then also for any one of these note-taking methods, you could come up to these ellipses here and then full width the page so that way it's not so small and you can see a bigger portion. You may have to adjust the main point location to make it more in the middle, like so. But yeah, that's pretty much how you do the mapping note-taking method. Okay, so the fourth note-taking method is the charting note-taking method. And this information I actually grabbed from another link that I found, and I'll leave the links in the description box probably. And I'll also leave another YouTube link. It's a video on these note-taking methods. They don't share how to take these notes on Notion, but they do go over each note-taking method. So if you want to learn more about each method, you can watch that video. So anyway, this is the charting note-taking method. And like I said, this information was from a link that I will have linked below, and you can look at it for yourself to learn more about the methods on that as well. And so what you can do is a couple of options. So option 1, you just do slash table and then click table, and then you add however many columns you need. So there's 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. And then you just add the main points or the subjects or categories that you want for your table. And you don't have to add significance unless you want to. You could add summary. You could do something a little different with that. It just depends. And then you just type in the information like so. Just fill in key deals that you need to know for a test or whatever quiz. Okay, so you kind of get the ideas. It's up here, and I'll just delete this. So yeah, you just keep filling that in, and then the option 2 is similar to what we've kind of been doing. So you just have each category, and then you create columns like we've been doing. And then you can go here, enter, and then add the information like so. And then the table option, if you hit enter, it goes down to the next column, which is a little bit annoying because I like to see it like this because it's more organized in my opinion. So if you prefer the more organized way, at least that's, like I said, my opinion, then this would be the better option. But if you don't mind it just written out like that, then do the table. But yeah. And then you just kind of fill in the information. And yeah, so that's how you set that up. And then for this option, you could, to make it look a little more like a chart, you can highlight everything in the category column and then do the dots, and then you can go to color and then color it, and all of the categories will color, and that way you can sort of designate what's a category and what's information you need to know. And then you could also do that in the table as well. So just click these dots here, color, and then you can color that. And then if you want to, you can make it a little more aesthetic and bold it, or you probably could do like a heading like so, but it's up to you. However you want to organize it, make it look pleasing, I guess, to the eye. And but the most important thing is it helps you remember the information, because that's what you need to do. So that's how you can do the charting note-taking method. And then also you can, if you would rather, you can bullet point. So highlight all of them, hit the dots, and then bulleted list. So you can do that too. So a few ways you can kind of play with this one. So yeah, that's the charting note-taking method. Okay, so we've got 2 more to go. I'm going to just go over these really quick because it's pretty simple. So the index card method is basically kind of what I came up with. I don't think anyone actually categorized or nomenclatured a method as such, but I call this the index card method because, well, you'll see in a second. So basically what you can do is you can use this method for a lot of subjects, as you can see: language, psychology, history, science. And so what you do is you can label it, if you need, with either the subject or your class number, especially if you're in like 2 history classes, or 3 science classes or something like that. I was actually in 3 classes that were the same subject but different classes. So yeah, if you may need to label if you're in college. But basically what you do is you type it in, dots, turn into heading. You can do 2 or 3. I usually do 3, but that's what these are. And then you can do this a couple ways. You can slash and then type it in and hit toggle list, or you can just type in a word, go to the dots, turn into, and then toggle list, and then empty toggle. So what you do is you click that, and then you type in the answer, and then you roll it up, and there you go. And that way you can't see the answer and you can quiz yourself. So it's a really good study method for exams and tests, and maybe quizzes if you have quizzes. So I really like this method for studying for exams anyway. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. And then the last note-taking method is sentence note-taking method. And this is the one that I personally use for lectures. This is the one I recommend for lectures. And that way you can organize it how you want in any of the other note-taking methods. So I just copied and pasted this from an article, a random article. And so basically what you want to do is you can, let's say that a professor did actually say this, or maybe you're taking notes from a reading. So you put everything in like this, like in a paragraph form or all together, and that way your information is where you need it. And what you could do to help you understand it, or to help you organize it a little more, is do the divider, so 3 dashes or slash and then div for divider, like so. And then you can just type in section summary. You can turn into heading 3 if you want. And then you can type in your key points, main takeaways, whatever you need to type in. so you can understand it better. So, yeah, that's pretty much the sentence note taking method. And then also, if you do need to reorganize something because it is on the computer, not on, in a notebook, you can drag it up or down and place it in a different spot so it makes more sense. You can also create columns if you need. So it just really depends on how you want to organize that. So, yeah, that's pretty self explanatory. Um, and so that's how you set up each note taking method on Notion. I hope you enjoyed this video and hopefully gave you some ideas or some newfound motivation to help you finish your studying. Um, and if you would, leave a comment specifying which method is your favorite. I'm curious to know. I think it would be interesting to have like a poll of comments, to see which one is like the most popular or least popular. But yeah, I hope to see you in the next video.